Hi, how are you? This is a very difficult question for me and for most neurocomplex, gifted, autistic, ADHDers. Why is it so difficult to answer? Well, if you take a moment really to answer this question authentically, you will find that it's very difficult to give an answer. Whether you just like answer automatically good, or you just like get paralyzed analyzing all the levels. How am I physically? How am I emotionally? How is the country? How is the world? How is my family? And then you think about all your problems and everything, every level. This is what happens with people like us, because we are sensing all at the same time, and we are gathering all this data because we are not made to sense things individually. We sense systemically. At least this is the what the evidence is showing. This can be very useful, and it can be in our own detriment. A lot of the times what happens to me is that I find myself worrying about things like, I don't know, how my sister is doing, or if my friend is depressed. And then it's very difficult. It takes a lot of my energy to want to understand this, to actually start thinking about solutions. And then for some reason, I didn't eat, or I can't sleep. This is why I made the fractal criticality model. It's because I needed something to be able to map the problems that I had in my life. And because I saw this all the time in my consultation, so people would come and would like tell me that they were anxious about something that was happening, and maybe they would have very like critical and important problems that were they were neglecting. um it made me realize that the amount of information that we have about what's happening in our surroundings makes it very difficult for us to organize what's really important. Because first of all, you will not be able to solve your sister's problem if you didn't eat. um and very likely you will, if you keep this loop, and when you keep this loop of not being able to take care of yourself or understand what things are urgent, and what things are not, then you enter this zone, this critical zone, which is metabolic insolvency, because you are investing your energy in an inverse way. This is why I call this criticality inversion in neurocomplex individuals. So for this, I actually made a tool to be able to map this. This is this is based on the fractal criticality model, because so here we can find if this is you as a unit, like here in the center, you will have a proximal zone, or internal, what we call internal layer, that it's critical. And this is fractal because it means that if this was your whole body and your heart fails, your heart will be here compared with your hand. If your hand is failing or it's hurting, it's more critical for the system that your heart doesn't fail than your hand. If we think of this as you, the unit, and in an interpersonal level, not biological, if your aunt is ill or she dies, it's a little less critical for you to fail or the system to fail, as if whether you were fail like you were sick or ill, or your children or your husband. So this is very useful to understand better this, how also in different levels we can use this, because it's very it usually happens, especially with this question, like how are you, that we think also in different levels. And this is there's a fractal of this. You are thinking about the country, you're thinking about the world, you're thinking about yourself last most of the times. And mapping this helps me a lot understand better what to prioritize and not what is not important, because to me, obviously, personally, everything is important at that moment. And this is why I needed this map. Um, in a way, it helps me also make decisions and understand how I have to distribute or administrate my energy and my time, because all things are important. And I usually work on the assumption that everything will fall into this map. This map is only telling me, okay, this I need to make sure first. And then when this is secured, I can go to the other layers to solve. So I made this tool, and you could chat with it, but also you can just like put screening. I will show you how it works. This is something that I'm trying to also um, use for myself and with my clients. So if it's hard to breathe, then I can put a bit. um, and then it puts it in the map. Here's an adaptive zone, so it's for when you're not very sure, and then this can, be taken care of in a different moment. But right now, if you're having tachycardia or palpitations, yeah, strong, then you need to take care of this first. How many hours did you sleep? Let's say less than 4. And do you have strong pain anywhere? Mild. And then, did you eat today? Normal. Non prescribed. Okay, so here we can, I made some, and then here you can understand better what is important to take care of first. If you didn't sleep or you have problems with, well, then this would be a situation in which I would like just stop this and maybe tell the person to make a deep breath, take deep breaths, try to slow down. What usually happens is that maybe, let's say that the person just comes with this, right? With maybe telling me that they are anxious. So we keep talking, and the person is aroused. They're having they are feeling tachycardia. They are having a really high heart rate. They didn't sleep, and then I'm like, we are doing a cognitive work, and I'm talking about catastrophic thoughts and interpretations. This is why it's so important to do this, because every second of your life, like sometimes when I feel a little bit like all over the place, I think about this, and it gives me a little bit of ground on where to keep going, because sometimes we really need to stop and see what are we using our energy for. Before I finish with this, I want to talk a little bit about metabolic insolvency because this model was made because based on my hypothesis of that there is a moment in which we kind of like live and survive in this way for such a long time that it's so difficult to really stop, ground yourself, and reorganize this because you live with inverse criticality. You live your life solving problems that that I'm not saying are not important, but while there are really critical stuff happening that you should be taking care of first. And this has been called in the literature as inversed, as Maslow's needs inversed, and this is very normal in gifted people. But and this is why I changed the year, like the pyramid for a rainbow, because it helps me understand better that we are a human body, because we are not like this. We are actually these layers of humans. And this is why with my son we made the rainbow of needs, because obviously for us everything is important. This is just a map. I mean, for me as an individual, sometimes I wake up and I am thinking about my purpose in life and what I want and my dreams. And it is very difficult to just like say, okay, can I be normal and just like wake up and be thinking of eating breakfast? No, I will not never be normal. And this helps me understand that it's not that I shouldn't think of my dreams and what I want, but that to be able to do this in a safe and healthy way, I need to take care of this first, because then I enter this loop that I was talking about, that it's called metabolic insolvency, in which you are constantly in burnout because you're investing energy in other things before taking care of the critical and urgent things. And this is the same logic that goes with why is so important that when there's risk in an airplane, you put your oxygen mask first before even your children. Sit with this, because this is very important, especially for caregivers and moms and healthcare providers. It is normally, if your client is with tachycardia or they are anxious, you have empathy. It is impossible that you are not feeling the same way. So, actually, mutual holding, as we call it at hard labs, in the hard methodology, mutual holding means that we are symmetric, that we both need the same. So, if you are feeling anxious, probably your client also is feeling that. If your client is with tachycardia, most likely, if you keep going with asking questions about interpretations and catastrophic thoughts, this will, what you are signaling, what you're modeling is that there's something biological that it's more important that you're not taking care of, not for yourself and not for the other person. Modeling is such a powerful tool. One of the things that I keep from ACT um, modeling, because it was actually a lot of my training, I feel in ACT and other disciplines like mindfulness, uh, really the impact that modeling has. I remember my supervisor, she told me, you know, I am feeling anxious about this. Like, how are you feeling? And then this kind of interventions really, I think, really have more impact in the other person than just keep talking about cognitive biases or cognitive distortions. Obviously, this is my opinion from my own experience, but me as a healthcare provider and as a human being, I have a responsibility with empathy. I have a responsibility with biology, with the reality of our bodies, because if we don't start prioritizing what's really important ourselves in the sanctuary of the space where consultants trust us, how are we going to even teach them or help them do it outside? So this is very important. And from a personal point of view, um, I have to say that I made a mathematical model of this. I created tools. I have this, and I keep making the same mistakes over and over. And this is not because I'm a failure or I fail as a system. It is because we actually need from other human beings to help us regulate and to help us synchronize. This is the purpose of empathy. If not, we wouldn't have it on the first place. Something that I'm already doing is that I started to assume that whatever the other person needs, most likely it's also something that I need at the same time. Because it's really difficult to think that as empathetic as we are in the same room. And even if I don't understand or I don't know what the other person is really going through, that I'm not actually feeling the same way. Um, I feel this model and heart has helped me a lot understanding how the power of symmetry and the power of equality and the power of being humble, just humble enough to understand that we are all humans, we all need the same at the end of the day and at the end of our lives, and that we can help each other even more like that than just thinking that you know better or that you know best. I do think that me as a consultant, like when someone comes for my help, I do think that I can see or I can help seeing things or having different perspectives. Or even that I have different abilities, that maybe there's something or an ability that I have that my client doesn't, and they need to develop, and that's why they are there and that's why they stay there. But if we don't do this work, assuming that we all need the same and that empathy is so strong that it will be mixed in that space, what the other person feels and what I feel, and that instead of like talking about the feeling, sometimes it's better to just like hold it mutually in vulnerability until it passes and we can actually start doing something or working something. And then that's where the taking places in perspective or taking places in abilities and learning from each other towards a goal. In this case, it could be the the problem that the person is having that is causing the anxiety. But this cannot happen if we cannot take care first of the biological part and the emotional part as equals. I would like to know what you think about this. We are proposing kind of a paradigm shift in that was the piano because I'm a human being. There's a piano and I have a baby, so there's a piano in my feet. I would like to know what you think about this because I know we are proposing a paradigm shift with this, but we really think that neurodivergents need different kind of care, more deep, more profound, and I would like to know to have feedback on what you see that I'm not seeing, and what you think, and how this feels, and if it resonates with you. Um, I love to know about other perspectives, and I love to get to know different brains. And so please contact me, and you can go to hardlabs.dk to learn more about what we are doing. I hope you liked this video, and I hope it was useful. And if you want to try the tool, just let me know, and we can have a session. And I hope to see you soon. And thanks for your energy, and thanks for your time, and take care of it. Okay.